Welcome back to the Market Makers on PromoGo TV. I'm your host, Rusty Pepper. On Market Makers, we explore the fascinating world of wine, beer, and spirit makers and the stories behind these amazing brands. Joining us today is Pat Hoffman, one of the co-founders of Lonely Oak Distillery in Erling, Iowa. Welcome to the program, Pat.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it looks like you're sitting there in your distillery. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up starting Lonely Oak.
Well, ever since I started farming with my dad, I wanted to have a finished product. And I got this crazy idea in my head. It's been about a 10-year plan. And I just think, whiskey's made from grain and bourbon's made from corn. Being in Iowa, if we're not making those spirits in the heartland, where are you going to make them? The West Coast, Napa Valley is known for wine. Wouldn't it be odd if the best vineyards were in Napa Valley, California, and the best wineries were in Lincoln, Nebraska? It wouldn't make any sense. But in distilling, that's the way it is. The raw materials, the best raw materials, are not where they distill the product. And we want to be a big player in the heartland spirits.
How's it going so far?
You know what? So far, it's going good. We've been open for about 2.5 years. We started with our North 40 brand of vodkas. We have a traditional vodka and then 3 flavored vodkas under the North 40 name. And then we launched our Steeple Ridge Bourbon a year ago with batch 1. Of course, our batches are rapidly coming of age. So now we're actually on batch 4, and we have quite a bit that's in the barrel ready to come. And so we're excited. We're excited for that.
So how did you come up with the name for your vodka? Let's talk about the naming real quick. North 40. What is how did that name come about?
Well, North, if you're from Iowa or the heartland and you say a North 40, most people know what you're talking about. It's 40 acres. Every farmer has a North 40. Ours happens to be right across the street from the distillery. So that's our North 40. If you're from the city, North 40 means way the hell out there, So our bourbon is titled Steeple Ridge Bourbon, and we call it that because we are an on-farm distillery, but we sit on a high ridge, and from that ridge you can see 3 church steeples. And those steeples, those churches are depicted on our label.
Gotcha. I was kind of curious how those names came about. I always find fascinating that craft distillers always have very creative, unique naming. So, yeah. Congrats on. I think those are great names. And one thing I thought too was really kind of cool is obviously you're growing the grains, and you can, looking at the distillery and the brand itself, you tell a really good story. You've got some really good stuff. Be true to the craft, seed to spirit, which I just think is fantastic. You're basically growing it from the seed and to actually into the actual spirit itself. So is there what part of the process are y'all not handling?
None of it. I mean, it's basically, this time of year we're getting ready to plant. So we'll plant, first thing we'll start is planting corn for next year's crop. And we not only grow our own grain, we grow it for the purposes of distillation. So we use a lot of heirloom varietals, things like that. And I don't know if you're familiar with the name Dave Pickerell, but he's kind of he passed away a year and a half ago. But he was big in this industry. He was with Maker's Mark for 15 years, and then he left and started a consulting business. And when I came up with this idea, that's about the best that you could get to help you. So I called him once a week for 8 months because I didn't want to be a pest. And then one day he called me back, and that's when everything changed. And he's helped us with everything, start to finish, prior to his passing. His engineer at the time was Nicole Austin. She's now the master distiller for Cascade Hollow, who is George Dickel. And so what we try to do is to take the best minds in the business and I'm not saying that I'm one of them, but the best minds in the business, the best equipment that we can get, and incorporate that with what the best that Iowa and the Heartland has to offer, which is our grains, try to make something special. And that's our goal out here. So there really isn't anything that we don't do. It's everything is planted, distilled, aged, bottled right here.
It makes for a special story. It's something you got to be proud of as the founder of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about marketing. Where all can people find your product?
Well, we're fairly new. And so currently we're in Iowa and Nebraska. We are making inroads. We're going to be launching in Wisconsin and Kansas in the next couple of months. We are available online. If you go to our website, lonelyoakdistillery.com, you can purchase it there. We're also in Illinois. And so, we want to grow, but we're not going to lose our way. We're going to be true to who we are. And so that's the main thing that I want to do. There's so many craft distillers out there that when you really look into it, craft and other distillers that don't make anything, or they make half of their line. And we don't want to be that guy. We make our vodka. We make our bourbon. We make right behind me, we're distilling our second distillation of rye whiskey. We make it, and we take great pride in it. And so that is, we want to be true to ourselves as we grow.
Like you say, handmade small batch spirits. I mean, it's what you're doing right there, right now. Yeah.
You could probably hear everything running, my boiler kicking in. That's just bad timing on my part. So, but hey, yeah, this is the experience. This is what we do.
That's exactly right, and that's a big part of it. It's got to be exciting. And I assume you've got your kids aren't old enough yet to really work there, I assume, because you have 5 kids.
I've got 5 kids. 3 of them are in college,
okay.
And so I'm the most popular dad at Iowa State. I run a distillery, and I've got 3 kids at Iowa State. So they help me. They're just coming back on spring break, so they'll be out here helping us. And then I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old at home. So just kind of had a little break there in the middle. But the older kids really like to come out here and help, especially when it comes to mashing and distilling and things that they can learn. The younger kids, they don't care for it too much because they know they got to work when they get here. So, but yeah, we bottle together. And my mom and dad help out, my sister and brother-in-law, and a lot of friends that we couldn't have done this without their support. So
that's special. So what is your, when it's time for you to relax, unwind, what's your go-to drink?
Well, I always tell people, I want to do it right here. I don't want to have to drink somebody else's bourbon because mine is no good. So we age it longer in small barrels. We try to do it right. But if I'm going to drink, I'm going to pick, I'm trying to like rye. So I just bought a bottle of Peerless the other day. I have a lot of experience with bourbon, rye, and I make a wheated bourbon. So I'm trying to educate my palate, start to drink more rye, since we're making rye especially. So I've been drinking Peerless. Templeton Rye is right down the street, so I always have a bottle of theirs. I drink Weller if I can get it. Very rare up here. I do have a bottle of Pappy 23, but I haven't opened it yet. So I don't know when I'm going to open it, but someday we'll open it. But if I'm going for a rye bourbon, I love Four Roses single barrel. That's one of my favorites. I really like the Jefferson line, especially the Jefferson's Ocean. Really nothing I don't like. But I keep trying to grow my palate. So
it sounds like you got good company there. So
yeah,
you've got to get something to compare it to, which is also great. So one last thing I want to ask you before we say goodbye. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's considering launching their own spirit brand or just now starting out?
Well, it's going to cost you a lot more than you think. And the easy part is making it. Once you get your system down, and it's going to take some time, don't get me wrong, but it takes a long time to develop relationships, to market it, and to get the sales going. And that's the lesson that I've learned. We just went full time at this 3 months ago. So prior to that, I've never had a lot of time to market it and to get out there and meet people. And that's the part of the job that I'm really enjoying now. And I probably neglected early on, against some of the best advice that I've ever received, but you live and learn. And so that would be my thing is, make sure you get out there, develop those relationships before you have a product to sell, because that's going to make all the difference.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to get up to speed.
Yes.
So, well, that's great. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and share more about Lonely Oak and everything y'all got going on there. And I can't wait to continue watching us journey and all the success that you are going to have. So,
well, thanks for having us. I've enjoyed this.
Absolutely. And if you would like to learn more about Pat and Lonely Oak, please visit us at promogocrm.com and check out our blog. On behalf of all of us at Promogo, thank you for joining us today on Market Makers. If you'd like to be a guest on our future show, please reach out to us because we'd love to have you as one of our amazing guests. Until then, I'm Rusty Pepper, VP of Sales at Promogo. Thanks for watching.